Done with the text?
Yeah.
Okay. So how are the two ideas connected in this text?
I would say that the two ideas are similar, or like
Mm-hmm.
something along those lines. And
Yeah, if you look at the first sentence, it kind of, brings in a comparison between using grim eating bacteria and using harsh chemicals for cleaning artworks.
mhm,
Right? It says that, there have been a lot of experiments which have kind of shown and emphasized that if you're using grim eating bacteria rather than using harsh chemicals to clean artworks, the results are more impressive. The results are way better when you're using grim eating bacteria over harsh chemicals, right?
yeah.
In the next sentence, it says that blank these bacterial strains, which can metabolize centuries worth of oil, glue, dirt, and other surface impurities without harming harmful byproducts, have proven more effective. So, kind of
Mhm,
re-emphasizing on the idea that's mentioned in the previous sentence.
yeah.
The first sentence was trying to talk about the fact that using grim eating bacteria is definitely more advantageous over the harsh chemicals. And the second sentence or the second idea is kind of telling, let's see, this is how the grim eating bacteria works, and this is how it is more effective or more efficient than the traditional cleaning methods.
Yeah.
So the ideas are almost similar. They are in the similar lines. They are aligned with each other, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So it cannot be however, because however is basically contrasting.
Yeah. And it can be
Not-
additionally because
Yeah, cannot be additionally because additionally is giving a new idea, which is of course not right. This is not a new idea. It is just an extension of the previous idea. As a result, it cannot be because again, there is no cause and effect, right?
yeah. Yeah.
So the answer should be in many cases.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So we move on to question number 6 now.
Okay. I think I have an answer.
Okay. What's that? Let's look at the text first. The text says that researchers believe that pieces of hull found off Oregon's coast are from a Spanish cargo ship that was lost in 1697. Stories passed down among the area's confederated tribes of so-and-so Indians support this belief. And then again, it talks about some stories that describe how blocks of beeswax, an item the sheep had been carrying, began washing ashore after the sheep was lost. So they talk about pieces of hull, they talk about blocks of beeswax, and both were the items that were contained in that cargo ship, and both were lost, right?
I feel like the connection is like adding on or explaining.
Yeah, kind of talking about the same thing, like two similar
Yeah.
things happening.
Hmm.
First, in the first sentence, it talked about or gave us about the pieces of hull. So the pieces of hull were also, found off the Oregon's coast, and they were also items that were there in the Spanish cargo ship, and they were lost. And then
Yeah.
when we talk about blocks of beeswax, they again say that the blocks of beeswax were an item inside the ship, and they were again lost because they began washing ashore after the ship.
Hmm.
So the same process gets repeated for two different items, right?
Yeah.
So cannot be for this reason because there's no reason. Cannot be, however, because it's contrasting. And
Yeah.
here the ideas are in the same direction. Any one between, for example, and likewise. What should be the answer?
Uh.
Likewise means, something that is similar.
Yeah. And for example, uh.
Is giving an example or giving an instance.
Yeah. I
So,
feel like it's gonna be for example.
Okay. But then pieces of hull is one item and blobs of beeswax is the other item. So how is blobs of beeswax giving an example? I mean, it's giving an example for what?
Well, I thought it was like the stories passed down, and for example, went into one of the stories.
Okay. But then pieces of hull was also there, right? That was also a kind of
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I get what you mean.
It should be likewise. Because it basically kinds of see, it says that pieces of hull, which were the items that were found in the cargo ship, were lost.
Yeah.
Right? And then again, it talks about some stories that describe about another item within the cargo ship that was also lost.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So kind of, talking about two similar processes happening.
Yeah.
And that is why it should be likewise and not for example. In fact, for example is a trap.
Okay.
It's a trap answer. All right. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on to question number 7.
I think I have a connection.
Okay, what's that?
I think the connection is explaining it.
Yes. If you look at the first sentence, it says in a heated debate in biogeography, the field is divided between these two,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you have these two groups, or you have these two categories and sections of people. One is known as dispersalists, and the other one is known as vicarianicists,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then in the next sentence, they try to define each group. Right? If you look at the
Mm-hmm.
first one, it says there are those who argue that dispersal is the most crucial determining factor. And this is basically, this argument is put forth by dispersalists, right?
Yeah.
And then there are those who insist that vicariance or separation is crucial. So this idea is provided by this. Make
Yeah.
sense? Right?
Yeah, makes sense.
So the second part or the second idea is doing nothing, but it is basically defining the two different groups. Yeah,
Mhm.
the two different sections of people. So the first part introduces or sets up that the field is divided into two different sections. And the second idea talks about or defines the two different sections of people,
Yeah.
right? So this is basically explaining. So of course, cannot be furthermore because furthermore is adding a new idea.
Mhm.
Cannot be by contrast because this is something which is contrasting or contradicting.
Mhm.
Cannot be similarly again because similarly says that it's something which is similar. Of course, it is similar, but then it is explaining, giving you some more
Yeah.
information, not an extra information, but saying something more about these two groups. So it has to be that is because it's explaining.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. All right. Question number 8 now.
I think I have a connection.
Okay. What's that?
Uh, I don't know how to explain it. Like I think it's like a summary of the first part, the second part, like um a conclusion. Like I don't know how to say it. Like a
See, if we look at the first part, it talks about wish cycling, right? It defines wish cycling. What is wish cycling? Putting non-recyclable items into recycling bins under the mistaken belief that those items can be recycled. Ultimately,
Mhm.
does more harm than good. So it's harmful, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you are, so you have non-recyclable items and you have recyclable items. If you mix both of them, then it causes harm. Right? That's what is said in the first sentence.
Yeah.
The second sentence says that non-recyclable items such as greasy pizza boxes can contaminate recyclable materials, rendering entire batches unusable. So non-recyclable items can harm the recyclable items.
Mhm.
That's what it says, no? The second sentence.
Yeah.
Contaminate. Contaminate is, doing harm, causing harm, is threatening, posing a threat to the recyclable materials.
Mhm.
This says that blank non-recyclable products can damage recycling plants' machinery.
Mm.
So there is a fine line of difference between these two ideas. One says that non-recyclable items causes harm to the recyclable items. The other one says that it also causes damage or harm to the recycling plant's machinery. So both are different, right?
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
is causing damage to recyclable items, and the other one is causing harm to recycling plants' machinery. Both are different?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I get that now. I get that now.
Yes. So if that is the case, then the ideas are contrasting, right? These two ideas, this one and this one, right?
Yeah.
So the answer should be nevertheless, which is no, sorry. So what should be the answer?
Jordan. No, it's not it's adding on. So I
Yes,
think it's
exactly.
adding moreover,
Yes,
right?
perfect, perfect. It's not contrasting, it's kind of giving you talking about two different items which are harmed, right?
Mhm.
One is the entire batch of recyclable items that is harmed, and the second one is the recycling plant's machinery. So two
Mm.
different items which are basically damaged or which are basically harmed by mixing non-recyclable items along with the recyclable items. So it has to be moreover. In fact, this nevertheless and on the contrary, these are traps. Got it?
Yeah.
So the answer is moreover because it's kind of adding an extra idea or new idea. It
Yep.
cannot be nevertheless and on the contrary because you might feel that, oh, it's causing damage to two different items, so it's contrasting. But it's not contrasting because it's not giving a contrasting idea. It's not giving two opposite ideas, right? It's talking about damage done to two different items. One is the entire batch of recyclable material and the other one is recycling plants machinery. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any doubts?
What category of connections would fittingly go under? Would
Yes.
that be like cause and effect, or
Fittingly, you're asking about fittingly, right?
yeah, yeah.
Fittingly would mean, something which is suitable or feasible for certain circumstances.
Okay.
All right. So fittingly doesn't work over here because we are not trying to talk about something that fits into a particular instance or fits into a particular circumstance. So fittingly would mean something which is suitable or feasible for circumstances. You fit into a particular situation, you fit into a particular circumstance. All right.
Yeah.
Perfect.